Unmuting. Hello, welcome to episode 10 of the OverLimit podcast. It's pretty exciting actually to hit the 10th episode of this spoon. It's a good milestone for, for all these episodes that we've had. I think, I don't know. What do you think? Episode 10? How do you feel so far?
I mean, I think it's going well. I mean, obviously we don't have a huge community, but that's okay. Again, we didn't expect any sort of booming explosion when we started the new podcast. We're happy with the people we had. We had a fun little movie night last night. We had a
Mm-hmm.
good number of people showed up. I think people enjoyed the movie.
Sure.
And yeah, we've had some good conversations. We got a little more game news this week, which is exciting, and
Yes, good stuff.
I think we've had some good streams, though those have been a little sparser lately since Otto has started back up school, and
Mm.
yeah, I don't really have a good excuse to be honest, but
I mean, you're doing KH Randos. You got KH Randos going.
yeah. But I'll definitely have a stream this. We've got some plans for
Yeah,
this
we
week,
do.
so
We
yeah.
do.
So yeah, it's good. No, I'm still enjoying it, and that's I think that's what's most important. As long as we're enjoying it, then we'll keep doing it, right? So
Yeah. And one thing, just I'll mention it probably a couple times, but maybe we should have like a moment where, maybe not necessarily on the podcast today, but at some point we can have people talk about their favorite moments so far, or things that they like, and maybe things that we could switch things up. We're 10 episodes in. I think at this point, people should have our friends and so on who watch should have a pretty good idea of the kinds of things that we talk about, and maybe there's an opportunity to open things up and we can try something new. So that's something we can definitely have our community and such talk with us about. And then at some point also, hopefully we'll talk about this outside of the podcast spoon, but guests. We have acquired the overlays necessary for guests to come on and join us. The overlays were done again. I did it with somebody on Fiverr. I think they do a pretty solid job over there. So yeah, hopefully we can get some people to come on and join us. So that's something that we could have happen in the coming week or so, depending on how things work out.
also
And oh, go
we
ahead,
have the introduction of Otto's new Genshin waifu posters
dude.
behind him.
These are great. Can I get like 1 minute on these? I will do 1 minute.
Go for it.
Okay. These are from it's a company called Display. So they do like metal
I've I've,
posters.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, if you've watched a YouTube video, you've probably heard of them. They are
Yeah,
constantly on
and
YouTube.
they sponsored Angry Joe for a
They're
while,
sponsoring
so
it.
I think that's
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right.
So these are really cool. I think the displays themselves are very cool. They're very simple to set up. Unlike posters, which I love posters. I still have tons of posters from back in college when we used to like have posters brought to the school. I don't know if you remember that, but I still have a ton of posters from then. And I like wall scrolls. I've got wall scrolls on my room here, and these are my new additions. The displays themselves, I will say, they're pretty expensive, so that's something to think about if you're interested. But they're cool. Like they work super well, easy to set up, and they look really nice. They're not too big. These are the smaller versions, but they're very like they look so good, and I'm hoping they'll last a good long time as opposed to a poster which can rip and tear and we'll just say decay in general.
So they're metal.
They are metal, so you obviously can't hear that, but I'm hitting it, and it's basically metal. You can hear the noise. It's just like that rattling noise. They're pretty durable. I will say one of them did come with a little bit of a bend in there. There was a tiny bit of one. It wasn't a huge deal, so I didn't like return it or anything. But it was unfortunate. The Gon U one was the one that had a very small like weird
They
thing on
got
the
you.
back of it.
They
Yeah,
they, they got you one.
the Ganyu one. So they're very nice. I will definitely be getting more of these. These are very
How do
cool. But
they hang? Is there like a hook or
there's a
what?
there's a there's a magnet. So you
Oh,
stick
it's
the magnet with you
on the
have like
wall.
this, yeah. There's this safety paper that makes sure that your wall doesn't get all messed up, and you can easily
It's a
tear it off
magnet.
if you're done with it. The
Okay,
magnet sticks onto that.
that's clever. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's clever.
magnet sticks onto that, and then
So you don't have to
after.
actually punch a hole in your wall or something.
No,
You don't have
absolutely
a
not.
nail or something like
No,
that.
this is great. Wall safe. I like I said, they're expensive though, guys. Like I'm just gonna tell you, I'm not going to tell you the exact price of all four of these together because they do constantly have discounts. But you could assume the one of these at this size is between $35 to $40.
Yeah.
These are
Okay.
expensive.
Yeah, that's not cheap. That's not
These
cheap
are
at all.
expensive. But again, like a poster is about, I would say like a wall scroll or a poster is like $20. The difference here is I think frankly these are easier to hang than those,
Yeah.
and they're frankly more durable. I'm hoping they last longer. You can always replace the magnets and such if you need it. Again, I'm a huge fan of this. Like I wasn't sure what I expected, to be honest. I'm a huge fan already. So at some point I'll be getting more. That's and yeah, $44 base cost is really expensive. So only if you're like if you really like something. And I love these. I'll definitely my next one I want to get is Big Dong Jong. That's what I want. Is I want Big Dong Jong.
Big Dong Drong.
Big Dong Jong. I want him on like over here on the left side, and I don't know maybe another character on my right side here. That way I'm surrounded by the Genshin characters. So they're interchangeable. Like if you've got a new one you want to put up there and replace it, you can just replace it. You can just take one down and put another one up. It's magnet, so it's very simple to replace. That's also something kind of cool.
Yeah.
So free advertising space for them. So let's see here. Oh, I think let's do it like so. You mentioned movie night. So for next week, do you want to talk a bit about some of the movie options potentially for next week? Obviously, we haven't written them down, but maybe talk through some of the stuff we had discussed last night, and just what the plan is for movie night moving forward.
Yep. Also overlimit merch pog.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we were discussing different sorts of options. We may try doing, TV series type things. We'll do movies still. I know you mentioned Lord of the Rings. I'm definitely down for Lord of the Rings. It's been a long time since I've seen those, and those were like some of my favorite movies as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely down to rewatch Lord of the Rings. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and yeah, I think we were thinking about doing, as I said, hopping into TV series, whether it be anime or otherwise, live action or yeah, I'm not too well versed in like American TV series or anything other than anime, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. So, if people have recommendations up that alley, we're happy to hear those. Yeah, so we're taking recommendations. We'll definitely find stuff that we want to watch. I think, as I said, we had a good turnout for movie night yesterday. That seemed to be a good night for people generally, so maybe we'll kind of stick with that Tuesday night
Mm-hmm.
deal, um, unless things change. But I think for now
Yeah.
that seems good to me at least.
Yes, I agree. I think that's a like at least from for me, that's a really good time because I'm I'll say like for the most part like that's my essentially my day off. So it's it's a very good option for me, and I think we did have a good turnout for A Silent Voice, which is a great movie, really great movie. So Tuesdays 7 p.m. Pacific time, so again 10 Eastern. I will say if we do Lord of the Rings, that's pretty late for Eastern, time zone folks. So just be aware of that. The Lord of the Rings movies are typically 3 hours long, very close to that
Yeah,
at least. So that's something to think about for the future moving forward. Once again, I'm gonna also do one other thing for our intro. So again, as per usual, typically we like to talk up something. So I want to point something out regarding our YouTube. I'm going to zoom in on it real quick. I don't think you'll see it anyway, but I will say like one of our videos got quite a few views. This like one of the podcast episodes got abnormally high views compared to some of our others, which I was obviously thrilled about. It was
maybe because it was shorter, to
I
be
think it was
honest.
because it was shorter. So something to think about for the future. But again, like for those of you that aren't subscribed or liking videos and such, please consider doing so. We obviously appreciate it, and yeah, we'll definitely be checking some things out. I mean, if the shorter videos end up doing well, maybe we'll figure out some way to like cut up the videos
Yeah, split them up.
and see if that works out better for people. But that was the YouTube shout out, and again, I had the coffee mug, so I'll go back to that two cam screen. The coffee mug here looks very nice. I think it's a pretty nice little thing. Very small and simple. I don't remember the price exactly on the merch store, but somebody can bot command merch on there, just exclamation point merch. And it's very nice. I know Brea sent me a picture of the cup that she got. Very cool. So a car alarm is going off outside and no one is moving to stop it. Well, there you go. That happens. Don't you just that's like one of those things you just hate when you hear the car alarm and you're sitting there thinking, okay, somebody's going to go out there, and it keeps going and going and going, and you're just, and then there's a point where it sets in where you're like, well, is it my car? Because I don't memorize the sound of my car alarm or anything like that. I don't know, just like weird. Oh, a new PogChamp? Okay, I don't. Okay, that was not horrible. That's an interesting PogChamp, but the Komodo one is the best one. So, any other stuff, Spoon, before we go to game news and such?
Do you want to talk about the stream schedule?
I do. I think we should. Let's talk about the stream schedule. So, yesterday I tried to stream Xenoblade. That was unfortunately ISP's fault. I'm blaming Comcast for this one.
I mean, you got a good, what, 2 hours or so before it
yeah.
crapped.
Yeah, I was pretty close to ending, I would say, after the boss fight and such. I did finish the boss fight with the Robo Maid, but yeah, it was super unfortunate. I'm hoping I still might put that video up on YouTube, but I'll probably just cut the boss fight because I cut the stream halfway through it. So I'll probably just cut out the boss fight from that. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. I thought it was a good fight too because it was edge of your seat business. So on Tuesdays, that's when our movie night is. I personally am going to try streaming Xenoblade on Tuesdays. I do want to mention a bit of a disclaimer that I didn't mention to Spoon. I'm worried about this because I'm worried that if I'm only playing Xenoblade once a week, I will never finish this video game. So,
well, you'll finish it eventually. It'll just take a very long time.
Yeah.
It's a short,
so
long game.
I'm considering. I'm not going to stop Xenoblade. I'm considering trying to find some time on a weekend. So I'm going to see what happens. I'll definitely talk to you, Spoon, but just to let people know who are watching the Xenoblades, I may move to a weekend spot like Saturday or Sunday and try and play then for a couple hours. The only reason I say like potentially is typically my Saturdays can get kind of wonky. We do stuff with the Destiny crew then, and that's kind of, it's hard to fit in time because that's like our one day the Destiny crew does stuff together. So other than that, for Tuesdays, Spoon, I forgot one more thing. I apologize. So tomorrow, the Rainbow Six crew's coming on. So I talked to Vis and the full auto crew for all those guys. They will be playing tomorrow. I will confirm the time with them, but typically the practices are 5 o'clock Pacific time. So they'll go from 5 Pacific time to 7 Pacific time is usually when they play and practice. We cleaned up some of the stream issues that we had present before. So I'm really hopeful that these guys can come on and with no issues whatsoever. And once again, when the Rainbow Six guys are done, we'll post the video of what they did to the YouTube. So that'll be happening tomorrow instead of like the last time, which we did Sunday. So be sure to check that out if you're interested at all. They're a fun group. I mean, they're obviously like one of the funniest people, some of the funniest people I know. So definitely check that out. And then Spoon, do you want to talk about for your side?
Yeah. So yeah, I was thinking about streaming tomorrow, but obviously the Rainbow Six is going to take that slot, so that's perfectly fine. They'll take that, but I will be streaming on Friday. I haven't entirely decided. It was either going to be Hades again, or I will start Chrono Trigger, one of the two.
Sorry.
So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm planning to stream on Friday, and
Do you know when on Friday? Do you have an idea, or are you just gonna
yeah, probably afternoon-ish, like 1:32
Okay.
Pacific, something like that.
I'll see if I can stop by for sure, because I have stuff at like 4:30 for TAing, but
yeah,
I definitely want to hop on for that.
So yeah, we'll get that going again. With my streams, I still have a few weeks before school starts again for me. So, and we'll see when that starts up what the schedule looks like. Also, East 9 is coming out next week on Tuesday.
True.
So I don't know if we want to talk about what.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Plans are for that.
We can do it. We'll talk about it here. So, since that's the case, we had a schedule before where game releases come out. We want to stream them. You're getting the game 100%. I will at some point, but it's probably best if I don't start now. And I think like for Tuesday, why don't depending on when you're available and when you want to do the stream, either I skip a week of Xenoblade for that Tuesday and just like find some other time, or I stream and then you stream, which is totally fine too.
No guarantees that I get the game. I don't know what time I'll get it. I didn't order. I ordered it through Amazon, so it has to be delivered, and I just don't know what time
it could be. Could be late at night, is what you're saying.
If it comes in the normal mail, the USPS, I'll get it. Between noon and 2 o'clock usually, something like that. But if it's UPS, we always seem to be the last ones on our route, so it'll come like 5:30, 6, sometimes 7, 8, 9. I don't know. So, I mean, if it's UPS, I get it till late at night. In which case, I won't be able to play it that day on stream, and we'll have movie night that night anyways.
Fact.
So. An evening stream would not be possible for that, and I do want you to keep going with Xenoblade, so I don't really want to take your stream slot there.
Sure. Well, I think let's do this. Let's just assume that I'm streaming Xenoblade, and if something changes, we'll put something out there about that, like in the Discord or something, and we'll go from there. Just because if you don't want to grab the Xenoblade spot, but at the same time, I do want us to stream East when it releases, either the Tuesday or maybe Wednesday.
I can probably do it. I can probably do it Wednesday before the podcast, and then throughout next week. Later, evening, afternoon before podcast on Wednesday, evening Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I could stream most of the latter half of next week playing East 9 if that's what we want.
I think that's the plan. Let's say that's the plan, because we'll have potentially stream Tuesday, stream Wednesday. Stream Tuesday will be Xenoblade. Wednesday before / after or both, we'll have East 9 game. Officially releases on Tuesday. East 9, it'll be a fun action RPG game. I assume the music is going to be great. So if you're at all interested in something, if that interests you at all, it's a JRPG, then you should definitely stop by and say hi and check it out. Or if you're potentially on the fence about the game, maybe stop by.
Yep.
Okay, I'm setting up our game news segment. So let's move to game news, because there is a lot. So let's jump into it. I think is going to be the best option for this past week. I think there's a lot of various different things. There's obviously, we have Microsoft and the GameStop stock. We'll talk about it for a little bit, but there are a couple other things that happened that we had in the Discord server. There's one thing that I mentioned to Spoon. I don't know how much of it I mentioned in the Discord server regarding Resident Evil. Resident Evil 8 had a video demo, but it also had a playable demo that was available on PlayStation only. So let's transition first to the Microsoft side of this. So Microsoft last week, this was last week or the weekend. I can't remember which day specifically this happened last week. But Microsoft attempted to double. They really tried to double the Xbox Live Gold price. And one of the reasons, at least from my perspective, and Spoon, obviously you can comment on this as well, how you your guess. One of the reasons why they wanted to do this was to try and promote the Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, because Ultimate Game Pass comes with Xbox Live Gold. And so they doubled Xbox Live Gold's price, just the base version of it, that version of it, without Game Pass, to try and incentivize people over to Game Pass. but that's not a good way to do that. That's a terrible way to do that, at least from my opinion. So, Spoon, do you want to talk about that as well? Like, I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to do too. Is they're like, okay, we're just gonna increase the price of gold, so people, instead of paying for gold, they're like, okay, that's a bad deal. As I might as well just buy Game Pass, which is, I think gold, the new price, it was gonna be what, like $12 a month or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, or no, it was like 120 for the year, so maybe it's not quite 12 a month, but like 11 or something
10
like
to
that.
$11 or something. It was a huge increase though from what
Yeah.
it used to be.
No, it was 60 a year, and I think it increased to like 120 a
Which
year.
is just
So
like
it was a double. It was a double in the price of Xbox Live Gold. And as you might expect, the internet was mad when
really
they
mad.
when they decided to do that, which comes as absolutely no surprise to anyone. Um, and yeah, I agree with you. I think they were just trying to promote Xbox, Game Pass Ultimate. They're just trying to get people to upgrade from gold plan to Ultimate, which is like $15 a month. So it's not that much more expensive. A little bit, a
Mm-hmm.
couple $3 to $4 more a month more expensive than the new price of gold would have been. Um, but yeah, the internet was not happy, and
Yeah, of course.
within a few days, Microsoft walked it back. Basically, they're like, "Nope, all right, we're not doing that. You guys were mad,
Yep.
and we're sorry. We're sorry. We're
Yep.
not doing that. This was a mistake." And they
So,
also
oh, go ahead.
changed their policy on some like free-to-play games, which used to require having gold, like the Call of Duty Warzone Battle Royale. So now you can play it on Xbox Live without actually subscribing to gold. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
um,
So I have the full statement that they made, which is just oozing with like the oh, with big followers right there.
wait, it's oozing with big follows.
Big followers right there. Um, this is the statement that Microsoft gave, and again, this is like, I think somebody should have like a bingo game for PR statements walking back stupid choices. There should be like also like a Mad Libs fill-in game. So
Yeah.
this is just like exactly what everybody does. There's this like, oh, we messed up. Thanks for letting us know. Blah, blah, blah. There's like this like there must be like this template online. It's like stupid, stupid decision making walkback document. We messed up today, and you were right to let us know. Connecting and playing with friends is a vital part of gaming, and we failed to meet the expectations of players who count on it every day. As a result, we have decided not to change Xbox Live Gold pricing. We're turning this moment into an opportunity to bring Xbox Live more in line with how we see the player at the center of their experience. For free-to-play games, you will no longer need an Xbox Live Gold membership, which is what you just mentioned, Spoon, to play these games on Xbox. We're working hard to deliver this change as soon as possible in the coming months. If you are an Xbox Live Gold member, you stay at your current price for renewal. New and existing members can continue to enjoy Xbox Live Gold for the same price as they pay today. And then they give the prices for what it was before, basically, before all this. So what you don't see on here is they're like in brackets. They're supposed to be like this thing like fill in company name here, and then like there's like probably a bunch of fill in the blank moments where it's like we messed up today and you're right to let us know, and then at the very end there's like some brackets or parentheses that says fill in what you screwed up here. Because this is like all like it's essentially a template. All the companies do this. They do the same like PR template thing, and
I mean, yeah.
it's like the joke. It's like, wow, what a great Twitch channel. Here, your $5 is in your PayPal or something like that. Sponsored comment, sponsored stuff. It just feels like that. It's so funny, but yeah, they completely reverse this. Good for them for using their heads, and we
Yeah, at least they walked it back
they
instead
did.
of like
Yep.
staying like, no, screw you guys. Honestly, I think people would have been okay with this if they would have increased it like a little bit. If it went up like maybe $10 or $20 for the 6 months, but they literally doubled or I mean,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
for the year, but they literally doubled the price. People were like, "What? No."
made no
Like
sense.
when you see Netflix or any of these other subscription services increase their price, it goes up like $1 a month or something. People are
Sure.
like, okay, it's fine. But if Netflix were to like double their price from 10 or $15 a month, whatever it is, to $30 a month, people are like, no, f that. That's way too much. Go away.
Exactly. That's
It's just I don't understand. Again, if they would have increased it by a little bit, I think
mm,
people would have been like, okay, I mean, it's been that price, $60 for a year for a while, like 10 years or something like that. So it's not that unreasonable for them to increase it a little bit.
mm-hmm.
But doubling it, yeah, that's unreasonable. That
Oh
is
no, it's
unreasonable.
completely ridiculous. It's just like I don't understand why they even thought doubling it. Like again, I think the idea was again just to be like, okay, we should get more people into Game Pass Ultimate, but that's not the way to
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, I, I don't see what they should do. Frankly speaking, in my opinion, is they should frankly just get rid of Xbox Live Gold. They should just like almost get rid of the system, and I almost want to say just like have an online service, like a base online service that's just free at this point for everybody,
I mean,
and then have
they
the ultimate.
do.
Yeah, and then have the ultimate, and then have just that base one with Xbox Live Gold almost features, and then Ultimate Game Pass.
Yeah.
That's what they should just have. They should just do that. But they still have this Xbox Live Gold, which has the obviously the extra features, which I think at this point you should just, frankly, I think you could just make that free and then potentially incentivize people somehow more into Ultimate Game Pass, which they're going to add more incentives into that moving forward. They definitely will. So I just like, or like maybe I don't know. There's like different things there's different ways to than what was done here, which is double the price of it. It's like that's like not the first thing I would do, but
No.
that's what they did, and they backed up. So good that they backed up. I think that's the right choice. At this point, Microsoft needs to continue to do good. Like before, we had talked about they felt like they were doing positive consumer friendly
Yeah.
practices, and this was
They
like
were.
a really bad one. And I was really surprised when they did this.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, this odd choice.
Yeah, this seems completely out of line with most of what they've done recently with Game Pass and generally more consumer friendly stuff.
Mm.
Like their the cheaper the Series S, the cheaper new Xbox and stuff like that.
Right.
And yeah, this was just like a spit in the face. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna double the price of Xbox Live Gold. And again, I'm glad they walked it back, but like, who over there thought they could get away with this in the first place without people getting mad? Like, who vetted this decision and was like, yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah,
It's cool. People, they'll be mad, but it'll be okay.
Gamers seem like the folk that are going to just be okay with doubling the price of something. It's like, I don't think anybody's okay with that, actually. I don't think anybody is. It was confusing. But I don't know. They have the stimulus, they can pay for it. Oh my gosh, that's toxic. Actually, so toxic. If somebody said that in a meeting, I'd just be like, you're such a dick.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears. So this was one that, frankly, I missed parts of this article, and like the main focus of this article, I thought was just simply Vicarious Visions merging into the Blizzard team and help with, I think they're going to be helping with I'm not sure if it's the remaster of Diablo 2 or if it was like they're jumping onto a different team. I forgot which team it was, but the point is they're merging Vicarious Visions, who recently made Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, and also the new Crash Bandicoot series.
Crash remake.
And this studio does a good job. They've had other strong games. There was a list of some that I was looking at, and I was impressed. Like, this studio's done good work, and Activision Blizzard has decided to just move the studio to the Blizzard side of things, which I think is super unfortunate. I think it's good that a competent team will be in charge of a Diablo 2 remaster, or even like something like Diablo 4. I am disappointed that this means we probably won't ever see another Crash game for a bit. I just I think this like the other side of this that I didn't see before. I didn't even see it. It felt like it was like a footnote in here. It's not in this article, but there was a different one that mentioned. So the team that worked on
Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Warcraft 3 Reforged, Team 1, they were set to work on the remaster of Diablo 2. And Activision Blizzard basically, from the article that I was reading, went to them and said, hey, interview for your own jobs, because either you're going to leave or we're going to figure out if you belong here anymore, which is incredibly fucked up, because Warcraft 3 Reforged was not their fault. It really wasn't.
It was not their fault that Warcraft 3 Reforged was bad.
It really wasn't, and it's unfortunate because like it's like so sad that this team that I think Team 1, the team that did work on Warcraft 3 Reforged, like I really did like think they were in the right direction. I'm sure at some point in time certain people that were above the development team told them to stop like doing things a certain way, or like move faster than they were supposed to and release something before it was ready. That wasn't like the development team's specifically fault. So to say to them, "Oh, well, this game didn't perform well and it's your fault now." It's like one of the really worst leadership decisions you could make. And I feel so bad for the people at Team 1. Like, because I think I saw something like this article where I didn't even see anything related to Team 1. And that's like what I just didn't see it in here. And I feel really bad for those people that basically had to interview for their own jobs or leave. It's a really pathetic move on the part of Activision Blizzard, specifically the Blizzard side. And I have like only negative thoughts towards Activision Blizzard a part of this. I mean, like, Vicarious Visions does great work, so I'm confident they'll do great work on the Blizzard team.
I mean,
but I feel so bad for Team 1. I think all those people like deserve to be somewhere that they're more appreciated and they're given some more respect to do their work properly. That's what I think Blizzard, the leadership group at Blizzard, made a really pathetic move with that. Activision Blizzard, it's Activision Blizzard. So.
Yeah, Blizzard, I mean, Blizzard used to be my favorite game company back in the, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, maybe a little more than that, back when I was in high school and such. And they are just a corporate trash fire now, to be perfectly blunt. They don't represent the quality of game that they used to. They are mismanaged. Yeah, Warcraft 3 Reforged was, I don't think it was the dev team's fault. Obviously, we don't know about the inner workings, but that game felt mismanaged and rushed. That's kind of how that felt.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean they haven't really released. I mean, we like Heroes of the Storm, but you know that game wasn't a commercial success for them, so they kind of gutted that one too. Diablo 4 has looked promising from what I've seen, and actually from what I heard, at least the Diablo Immortal Alpha was, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Apparently, people actually liked it. Apparently, it was actually pretty decent from what I heard.
I heard that too. I really heard that too, and I have zero interest.
Same. But you know, yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Blizzard is just bleh. I mean, obviously Vicarious Visions, people have liked the remasters that they've made, the Crash remaster.
Yes.
And they made Crash 4. They made Crash 4, right? Or the new Crash.
So they made the remaster of Crash, and then they made Crash Out of Time, I think it was called. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then they made
Um,
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and
oh
2.
yeah,
They remastered those.
the Tony Hawk remaster. Who did this? I thought they did the Spyro one too. Maybe I'm
I
wrong
don't
about
know.
that.
I like the games that I saw from the list of games that they've worked on. Again, it's a good list. Like they've worked on some really, really good games. They've done good job. They've done a good job.
Yeah. Here's my only hesitancy with this, um, is that okay? We know they make good like three. I guess Tony Hawk and Crash are pretty different, but they make good like 3D platformers,
Mm,
and they did a good job with a remaster of a skateboarding game. But Diablo 2, like an isometric RPG, is a very different beast from what they've
sure.
made before.
Well,
Am I saying they
yeah,
won't do a good job? Absolutely not. I'm sure they could do a good job, but that is a very different kind of game than what they have worked on
sure.
before.
Well, I will say the one thing that okay, yes, that like the difference in game genre specifically and the type of game, I think will definitely be maybe an issue. I don't know, but the fact of the matter is they know how to program and they do a good job making the games that they make. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
So that's if as long as somebody puts them on the right direction and isn't like Papega brained, I think they'll be fine. But again, that's kind of saying a lot for Blizzard when they gutted a dev team that frankly like Team 1 I just don't think should have been gutted like that. Like or like you're forcing them to interview for their own jobs. Like it's like come on. You already hired them before. They must be capable in some way. It's your fault. It's your guys. It's the leadership's fault for putting Reforged out there when before it should have been. Like blame yourselves. But they, of course, nobody will ever do that. But very rare that somebody does that. I should say. So, I just feel worse for Team 1. I mean, like obviously, Vicarious Visions being in Blizzard, I think is a unfortunate because they're not going to be a lead on making games. They won't be a lead developer on some of the other games that they've already worked on and such. So we're obviously going to be missing out on some future things, like again, more Crash games, maybe some other things that get remastered. But yeah. Oh, remember Overwatch 2? You remember
Yeah.
that?
Hmm.
They announced that like I think at least 2 to 3 years ago. You remember that?
Was that
Something like
was that
that.
BlizzCon 19 or 18? I don't even remember now.
The announcement was made. I'm fair. It was one of the. It was like 2019 or 18. It was like 18 or 19 or something like that. 19. I think it's 19. Yeah, because I'm seeing
Yeah.
the official cinematic trailer was November 1st, 2019. You remember
Yeah.
that though?
So it was at the last It was
That
at
was
the
like
last BlizzCon.
it's like almost 2 years ago. Like, what have they been doing? It's been a while. Like, it's not like the
I mean,
game is going to be that much different.
it's Blizzard, dude.
It's just like, what have they been doing?
They make
Overwatch, I don't know.
yeah, they make their announcements at BlizzCon and then they just go silent for a year. So
Remember Overwatch
whatever.
League? You remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going
Doesn't
on with that. It
does it not
exists.
exist? I'm
It
sure it
exists.
exists. So.
It's on YouTube. Well, everything's on YouTube now because Blizzard made a deal with Google, so everything's on YouTube.
Okay.
All their
Yeah.
professional events are on YouTube. Remember that though? I don't know. That's a thing still, I guess. Anyway,
Yeah. I don't know. Again, I Blizzard's management is just awful now. I don't. Again, they haven't really made a great game in a while, to be honest. So like the Diablo 3 expansion was good, and we liked Heroes of the Storm, but
I think Overwatch
it's
on release was a good game. That was a really fun game. I
yeah.
will say, like
Okay,
Overwatch on release
I'll,
was a good
I'll
game,
give you that. I'll give you
but
Overwatch.
that was quite a long time ago, frankly. So that's like, yeah, we'll see, we'll see.
Again, Blizzard to me used to be the pinnacle of gaming companies. You know, that was one of the companies like on the pedestal for
Yeah,
me. That
sure.
was like, yeah, they make amazing. Everything they release is a gem. They're brilliant. They don't release things until they're ready. They're amazing. And then they had the Activision merger, and yeah, that's now we're here.
Now we're here.
So
Now
yeah.
we're here.
Well, they had the Activision Vision merger. They had a couple of duds, and now we're here,
Yeah,
basically.
basically, yeah. Um, so let's move on to this is kind of a short one. Uh, Resident Evil 8 had some I want to say like demos. They did a video demo on YouTube. They put a video demo out there. They talked about the game. They showed like a sequence of the game. The game looks. I mean, it looks pretty cool. It's like I love the atmosphere. They put you in like a. It looks like a mansion. I suppose is a good way to do it. And there's like these three sisters. It's like a very suspenseful, tense atmosphere, and it looks great. It's first person again. Vampire mommy. Yeah, that's basically yeah. So one thing that I think I mentioned to Spoon and some other people have been pointing out. So there's a normal $60 version of this game. I want to find it. Well, maybe it's not listed in this particular article, but there's a $60 version of the game that's just like the normal version. There's also a $70 deluxe edition. The deluxe edition is the one with the hardest difficulty. So the hardest difficulty is actually gated behind the behind this $10 deluxe edition, which is really unfortunate. Why is it behind this paywall? Can you explain to me in your like maybe a why you would put a difficulty behind a paywall like this? Like what would the argument be to do that? Just out of curiosity. From at least from your perspective, Spoon.
They want people to buy the deluxe edition.
Okay.
Yeah, money.
Like okay.
They want people to spend $10 extra on the game and buy the deluxe edition because they want to play the hardest difficult, especially the streamers and stuff like that. Who streamers have to play on the hardest difficulty.
Absolutely.
Of
course they do.
But other than that, this seems like an absolutely abysmal fucking PR decision that I'm surprised I haven't heard more about, and they're not getting absolutely blasted for, because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like, I watched a video. It was an Angry Joe video, and they were doing a bit of a reaction to this. And I saw this, and they saw this, and we all had the same reaction. We were like, why is this paywalled? This is so confusing. I mean, like, obviously the only real reason would be like, okay, we want to squeeze some more money out. But, like why? Why is the difficulty behind this paywall? This difficulty doesn't have to be behind this. Like, I imagine some of this other stuff may just, without the difficulties, setting, be valuable enough for that extra $10. Just like throwing the difficulty in there, it just seems like an extra scummy move. He's like, oh, do you want that super hard difficulty? Give me $10 extra. Like, come on. Why? Oh my gosh. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, but Tyler, that difficulty wasn't out on release.
They did after the fact. It's in a DLC with tons of content. Like, there's tons of content in that DLC.
This is a cosmetic at $10, glow up add-on that really is worth fucking nothing, and they slapped a difficulty in it.
Right. I just wanted to bring attention to it. Capcom swoops in again with some weird, stupid thing. I wish they'd stop doing this kind of thing. Like, everything else in the deluxe pack, it's whatever. But just like putting a max difficulty mode like in the exclusive, like this bundle, I don't know. It's a question mark for me. That one's very scummy to throw in there. So that was what I wanted to highlight in particular. But I mean, the game I imagine this game will be fun. Like I said, I think the suspenseful atmosphere is great, and yeah, hopefully it's a good game. Besides the max difficulty being behind a $10 paywall. Okay, so now I'm going to head us over to my Google Finance sheet. Nothing in here is particularly private, so I'm not concerned about showing this because it's just Google Finance. So let's go to GameStop. I'm going to pull up a nice 1 month chart. Well, I'm going to pull the max, the time it's been public. So this company has been public since 2002. It appears February 15th, 2002. Okay, and this stock doesn't look like it's ever really exceeded $56 from my eyes. Okay, on January, probably a little bit further back, huh? On January 11th, this stock was $19. On January 4th, let's go all the way up to the 21st, it's $43. That's a pretty nice increase for a stock like this. Let's go a couple more days. January 25th, it's now $76. And let's fast forward to the 26th where it's $147. And let's fast forward to today. It's at this moment, which should be closed. The stock exchanges should be closed at this time because it's late. It is $347. GameStop's stock price. What has occurred is a subreddit called Wall Street Bets was not particularly pleased with a specific hedge fund's actions towards GameStop. They've done something called short selling. I will give the definition of short selling from Investopedia, but this subreddit was not particularly pleased. The GameStop, there's like a certain percentage it's been short sold, and the subreddit has decided to make this hedge fund lose money. Okay, that's the short selling will allow the company to try and like recoup like some, because they're purchasing this stock at one point. And let me just go through short selling. Okay, it's probably easier if I just do it this way. So there was a specific part of this that I wanted to highlight here. So here we go. Let's do this definition. This paragraph I think was particularly good. In short selling, a position is opened by borrowing shares of stock or other asset that the investor believes will decrease in value by a set future date. Let me actually zoom in so maybe people can read it with me. The expiration date. The investor then sells these borrowed shares to buyers willing to pay the market price. Okay? So before the borrowed shares must be returned, the trader is betting that the price will continue to decline and they can purchase them back at a lower cost. Theoretically, the risk of this loss on the short sale is theoretically unlimited since the price of any asset can climb to infinity. That's true. So there's a risk that traders are making here to say, okay, I'm going to assume that this stock will go down from the point at which I have bought and sold it, or sold these borrowed shares. Okay, so they're hoping that this stock will go down. So they were hoping that GameStop's stock would stay down, so that they can repurchase this stock back at a lower cost and pocket the in between profit at that point. Okay, that's short selling in a nutshell. If you're still confused, I will post this in the Twitch chat, and I'll post it on the YouTube as well in the description. So there's tons of displayed advertisement. Yes, I know, because I went to Displayed, so they're giving me constant Google ads of it. So the idea was that this hedge fund was betting on GameStop performing poorly so that they could recoup that in-between profit for themselves. They're trying to potentially screw people over, just saying, okay, buy it at the market price that I give it to you, and then I'll take it back when it's lower, and I'll pocket those profits. So this subreddit was not particularly enthused about this and decided to jack up the price of GameStop's investments. And the hedge fund, I don't have the article for it, but I've seen it on Twitter and such, and I did actually send it to Try Courage in the chat earlier today. This hedge fund, it's called like Melvin. This hedge fund had to get reinvested billions of dollars to recoup its losses. They ended up pulling out of GameStop, and they lost billions doing so. So this subreddit has caused this hedge fund to lose an exorbitant amount of money, and it just so happens that it's GameStop that they've decided to do this, with, and all those people that bought into GameStop early before this huge boom, this bubble expanded, are making, they've made a lot of money at this point because they could just buy it, the 19th or even the 25th, sell it today. You could just buy the 25th, sell it today, take your profit. But this hedge fund, because they short sold it, They can't get those profits anymore because it's increased to a point where it's actually higher than what they previously purchased it at, which honestly I don't know. Much higher,
higher.
much higher.
Yeah.
$300, I imagine, more than $300 higher than I imagined they purchased it and assumed it would, go lower than they thought. So I don't know. Do the math. Let's say they bought 1,000,000 shares of GameStop at $20 to try and short sell it and hope they could buy it back at $5. Now it's $347. Do the math there. It can, yeah. So okay, Spoon. I know you're not necessarily like in line with all the things that I just described here, which, to be fair, I'm also not fully like understanding of everything that's currently occurred. That's what the perception I think is. But why don't you go ahead and give some thoughts regarding this subreddit and all that, and the hedge fund losing possibly billions plus.
I mean, look, I think people know at this point that I am pretty liberal, and I guess we haven't really talked about the market, like the stock market, very much. But I am not. I get the idea of it, but Wall Street and these hedge funds and people like this, like, these people are scumbags. Like, they take your money and they say they're going to make money for you, but it's all just fairy dust, and they just profit off of your suffering, basically.
Mhm.
And these people suck. Like, they only care about making money. They don't care about you. They don't care about your assets. And yeah, they're trying to make money by screwing people over, which is just a horrible business practice, but it's the reality. So to the hedge fund that lost billions of dollars, fuck you, you deserve it. And to the people on Reddit, I mean, Otto and I had a chat about this before the podcast. Apparently the hedge fund may actually have a legal case against these people, but I don't think we're gonna go into that because we don't know enough.
Yeah,
But
I'll talk about that after you're done.
I mean, yeah, I like the idea of what these people are doing. They're trying to stick it to the man because, these people are, again, as people are saying in chat, they kind of, when a hedge fund does this, I think Ghost said this in chat earlier, just the news of that, like, causes the stock price to fall, and then they win their bet, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And they make money by, yeah, and I'm just so sick and tired of the rich get richer and the poor get poorer sort of mentality, this, toxic capitalism in this country. So when I see some people like this, some just everyday people on Reddit being like, hey, there's people trying to screw people over. You want to fuck with them? Yeah. And then they stick it to the man. I mean, I'm a fan of that. Again, I don't know the legal implications of it. Maybe the hedge fund has a case against them. Who knows? But and now apparently, some people on Wall Street who are like calling for regulation now when,
Yeah.
Because, oh no, the rich people lost a small percentage of their exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah.
For a lot of these again, I don't know the details of this hedge fund or how much they actually lost. You said they lost billions, so in that case, they actually probably did lose a lot. But
Oh yeah.
If you take a multi-billionaire, let's take, Jeff Bezos, for example, one of the wealthiest people in the world, in the country, or in the world.
Yep.
He has, a net value of, I don't know. I'll just say it's 200 billion. I don't know what it is, but it's something like
It's
that.
probably higher than that, to be fair. But yeah, keep going. Keep going.
Might be more than that. If he lost half of that, $100 billion, which is enough money to do a hell of a lot of good, save a lot of people from poverty, give the entire country health care, etc., he would still have more money than anybody would ever know what to do with.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, that's true.
when these huge companies lose millions or billions of dollars, I really don't give a shit. I just like, yep, sorry. When you gamble, sometimes you lose, and sometimes you get bit. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I saw an interesting post about this. When you don't invest what you can't afford to lose because it's gambling. It's basically you're gambling with your money in the stock market. And yeah, I mean Wall Street
Yep.
treats it like a casino, and it's a little more than gambling because people can affect stock prices by buying
Yeah.
mass buying and selling stock. It's not just a roll of the dice or anything like
Right.
that. But
When I will say, I know like people can make the okay. I don't want to sound like foolish for saying this, but like I don't consider this straight gambling, obviously. But like I can see why people may obviously make that comparison. It's like, oh no, you're gambling on the stock market, right? Yeah, of course. They're like when you say it like that, that's fine. But you do get, I suppose you do get some asset in return. When I buy stock in GameStop, if I bought a share, I do have a share of GameStop. I do have this asset.
yes,
Also,
you
some companies
own a small portion of the company.
and some companies do give out something that's called a dividend. So they'll actually give you some money in return for investing in their company. So it's like there's some complexity behind it there,
Sure.
which I think I think companies that do give out dividends, like I guess obviously it's kind of nice, but at the same time, like I can understand. I don't want to sound like I'm like, no, it's not gambling, because that's kind of what I'm saying. But I can see why people say, okay, you're gambling in the stock market. So, and I think Tyler's 100% correct in saying short selling as a concept is really strange. It's you're betting on the company getting worse. So that's like really, yeah, it's a bad thought process to have already. So
And it's kind of the problem with the stock market sometimes is it's not doesn't always, which is why I say it's kind of not real or it's fairy dust. It's just like sometimes a lot of times it does, like how well a company is doing does affect the stock
Sure.
price. Like with GameStop here, obviously these people were betting on that.
Right.
GameStop has kind of been on the decline for quite a while, and I honestly
Absolutely.
think their bet was a good bet that it was they're gonna keep declining, and I mean I wouldn't be surprised if they were out of business in the next 5 years, maybe. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I mean, really, like, I'm sorry, I'm looking at these companies, because they're public, they have to report their financials. And one thing that's nice about this is you can check on the company's, revenues and their net income. GameStop loses money, a lot of money, actually. They seem to get more cash on hand, but they've been losing, in these quarters, except for Q4 2020, they've been losing quite a few well, I want to say tens of millions in this case, but 165 million here. So this company is not performing well. So the stock shooting up like this is not indicative of the company's performance.
yeah.
It is simply people buying the stock like crazy and thus making it seem like this company is valuable. So that in that case, yes, that could be considered fairy dust, right? Because it's like,
And
it's all fake.
and for some random Joe Schmo who, for whatever reason owned GameStop stock and wasn't really involved in whatever this was and just owned GameStop stock before this thing, and then the price shot up and they sold and made a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah,
I'm happy for you, bud.
No, really,
Good
like
for you.
cool, like really
Good
cool. That's awesome.
Good for you. That person can now pay their rent or mortgage
Oh
or
my God,
medical
yes.
bills or whatever it is. So
if you had 100 shares of GameStop, which is 100% realistic for some people, that's 100% realistic for someone to own 100 shares of GameStop at the time it was low. That's 100% realistic. They now have
they
made
made like
return.
They made like
Yeah.
$30,000.
That's great for that person.
Honestly,
Really, I think it's great. That's like you could pay off student debt. Maybe it's like a professional that's like barely hanging on. Yeah, as you said, that's like great for them. So I'm happy for the people that had shares in it before and were just like, oh, I just happen to have shares, better sell now, which 100% you should. You should be selling it right now. But yeah, I'll quickly mention the thing that you talked about, which was like the hedge. So the hedge fund itself will not go after these people. The SEC, which is a body that overlooks all these things, okay? They're the ones that, so there's a couple things that are not legal to do. Typically, these things relate to very specific things, though. So a person, if for whatever reason, if a person just happened to have tons of money, which there are people that have tons of money, as we've already said, they can do something called pump and dump. One person could effectively change the stock value of a company. That is 100% true. It could happen.
By buying a shit ton of stock.
Yeah, a shit ton of stock. They could. Yeah. Pumping and dumping, though, is illegal. So this also can pertain if it happens to be a group doing this. So if a group, for whatever reason, would also be doing this, a pump and dump, that would also not be legal. And you can get into a lot of trouble for that. There's examples of like various different things the SEC has gone after different people for. The SEC has actually fined Elon Musk in the past for him being stupid on Twitter. He, like, I think it was specifically when he was like mentioning that Tesla could go private or something like that. He was like doing stuff on Twitter, messing with, basically affecting Tesla and their stock prices and all that. Yeah, the SEC of course like went after him. It was like, you can't, no, don't do that. So yeah, there's like various different things, but the thing that I was mentioning to Spoon before, which I don't want to go into depth on because I don't think I have a full understanding of it, but just for background, my dad happens to specialize in securities, so this is like right up his alley. But if they consider what Reddit did, this subreddit did, a group that has not considered themselves a group, there's like specific paperwork and things you have to do to be like a group effectively, and you have to consider yourself a group in that case. They could consider this, I could imagine, which they might do just because everybody on Wall Street's going to be pissed off, obviously. You could potentially say, okay, this Reddit subreddit's a group, and this group is effectively doing a pump and dump, and that is not legal. That being said, I don't know if that's what's going to happen. I don't know if that's the case. I don't want to sound like I'm an expert on it because I'm not. But I was simply having the conversation, and I was mentioning that to Spoon, that if for whatever reason the SEC decides to do something about this, which frankly they could, because a lot of rich folks are unhappy about this, then...
Oh yeah, and they'll do something when rich folks are unhappy, but not
because you can't touch the rich folks because that's when bad things happen. I'm laughing about it, but it's really not like it.
No, it's true. It's so
stupid.
Fucked up.
It's so messed up.
This country is so absolutely corrupt and just like top 1% gets everything, and everybody else go to hell.
When you mess with when you mess with the people who don't have money, it's like okay, whatever. But when you mess with the rich folks, then people start to go crazy. So that's just...
People notice and people get mad.
I'm simply pointing out that the SEC could swoop in here. So, additionally, I want to point out that we could see a manipulation on other companies as well. AMC happened to have a nice little increase.
Yeah, I heard that was happening.
That is something to keep an eye on. AMC is going to go up. There were a couple other companies whose stocks, the retail companies specifically... they're going up. Oh, the SEC has investigated that subreddit before. Oh, they're screwed. Oh, that subreddit's in trouble now. I think that subreddit's in real trouble now if they've already investigated them. They're in a lot of trouble now at this point. But I don't want to sound like an expert on this because I'm not. And I think it's interesting. I think this stuff is it is interesting. And, there's some, wow, Carvana's down by a lot. There's, these things that happen. The hedge funds, first of all, your practice of trying to profit off of short selling is shitty. Fuck you. But yeah, I mean, like if you happen to have GameStop's stock, good for you. But this is a big thing that's been happening the last couple of days. It's so big that I feel like everybody on Twitter is talking about this. I've seen Twitch streamers that don't normally care about, stock or the stock market at all following this. So in some sense, I think that's actually a good thing. I think it's good for people to be aware that this exists and to try and educate yourself on it a bit. I really do think it's good. It's also nice because you can educate yourself more on companies and see what they're doing. That's been kind of nice. I feel like I've increased my knowledge of companies that I've followed and have purchased stocks in more because of this. Like that's just, I think it's a bonus when you do that sort of thing. So. Any other stuff you want to mention regarding this, Spoon?
I don't. Yeah, not really. Again, I don't feel bad for anybody who lost money because of this.
No, I don't feel bad for this hedge fund at all. They're the way that they're trying to make their profits is scummy. This is a scummy practice. I think the normal practice of just investing or putting your money into the stock market, okay, fine. If you want to do that, that's great. I'm doing it, and I would just want to educate myself. But when you're short selling and that's how you make your business is by hoping that companies fail, come on, like what the fuck? That's really messed up. And profiting off of that, that's even more messed up. Okay, I have this on here. I think I put it in the doc. If I didn't, I would have liked to. I feel like everybody in here knows who Video Game Donkey is. YouTuber, a lot of YouTube videos. He placed Heroes of the Storm as the best MOBA of 2020. This guy shit on Heroes of the Storm when it first released.
I mean, it's a pretty different game now than when it first released they made.
I think he specifically mentioned that it's like the short game times, variety, and it being a fast-paced game make it more enjoyable than before. It's kind of interesting because, again, I distinctly recall he just said this was a bad game when it released, and obviously the game has changed as you mentioned, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It's like, wow,
not that much though. Like it's always been accessible short games. That's kind of always been their MO with Heroes.
I thought it was interesting. I was like, okay, sure, one person's opinion, sure, but I mean, HOTS is pretty dead, but it's still getting some recognition. I just pressed a freaking thing there. So, I don't know. It was interesting. I wanted to mention it and put it on here. So, there's one other thing I wanted to mention before we shift gears, if that's okay. I mentioned this on my stream yesterday. I found a game that I want to play on the podcast channel, and it's called The Last of Waifus. It is on sale. It is 50% off. This is not against TOS or anything. Like it's not like actually a Monk-ass game or anything. It's like it just looks like a really poopy shooter game, but it's like I don't know why I came across this, but I'm playing this on the stream. I think.
Is this like a Last of Us parody?
Yes.
Parody,
yes, it's a Last of Us parody, and I think it's wonderful. Oh my god, it's so stupid.
It's probably gonna be so bad.
I imagine it's gonna be terrible, but it's also $1 right now. It was $2 before, now it's $1. That is definitely worth some entertainment for sure. I just wanted to mention this because I found this and I was just laughing so hard. It's so funny. Even if it has an hour of gameplay, it'll be worth my $1. My dollar spent. It'll be well worth
$1.
Exactly. I'm super hyped. I'm definitely getting this game. Let me transition back here. Okay, lot of game news stuff. Let me get rid of all my freaking tabs. Got so many tabs here. All right. So, oops. Wow, trying to get rid of that. Okay. So, let's talk about. So you're gonna potentially play Hades on stream, this week, or Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'll probably just do Hades. Actually, now that I think about it a little more, since East 9 is coming out next week, and don't really want to start another RPG, that being Chrono Trigger, or a very heavily story-based game before East 9 comes out, because I'll probably just drop it and play East 9 instead. So.
Probably fair. I think that's fair. What I was kind of alluding to was, so we kind of mentioned this. You've been doing the KH runs and such, but are there any other games that besides East 9 that you've been playing? Maybe you want to give an update towards. I mean, obviously you can give an update towards the KH stuff as well if you want it. But we do have this section where we talk about games we've been playing and such. So
yeah, I haven't played anything except KH Rando over the past couple of weeks, to be honest. Except for that one day that I streamed Hades.
Yep.
So yeah, I could also do a Rando on the channel on Friday, but I don't know if people want to see that. So
I mean, it's obviously up to you, right? But
okay.
The oh my god, Kuru. Of course, Kuru said that. So, well, I want to give a couple updates for me, and I don't want to spend time on it. I've decided to take a break from AC Valhalla. I'm going to be taking another week off of it this week. So instead, I've replaced it with Shadow of War because it's, I'm going to say, similar ilk. So I feel like, okay, I'll still get an open world game and such. And I've been watching a lot of Shadow of War videos on YouTube for whatever reason. I don't know how I got recommended to it, but I've forgotten that that game could be fun. So I've decided to play that instead of AC Valhalla for the week. Definitely enjoying it so far. Obviously with Xenoblade, still getting into that, right? That one yesterday I played for about an hour and a half. I mean, it's Xenoblade is still fun, and hopefully it continues to be what it is currently, which is just like a nice. It's like the story so far hasn't gotten too out there. It seems so far actually I think the story has been very simple. If I'm giving my opinion, I don't think it's really gone into any complexity yet, which is great. I know I'm going to get all that information dumped on me at the end of the game, right?
Yeah,
But
stay tuned for another 50 hours and
yeah,
you'll get there.
yep. But for now, it's been pretty straightforward and simple to follow along with, which has been great. And then obviously the last thing that I think we both can, I don't know if we have to talk about that long, but if we want to make try go to sleep, we can just mention that the Genshin 1.3 update get talked about quite a bit recently.
Yep.
We have a new character banner, and then there's the second character banner, which you knew about and I didn't, was going to be Kuching, which is already a 5-star character, which is actually the one that's like right behind me that I'm pointing at. So that's usually in the past the banners have been a special 5-star character or a unique one.
A new character.
Yeah, a new character. But this is the first time we've seen a banner not be a new character. It's an old character that. I mean, I suppose it's nice to get a rate drop increase on a character like that, but it's interesting that they didn't have a new character for the second half of a full update. Kind of interesting.
Yeah. Supposedly, though, and I don't know if this means that this update's only going to be 4 weeks, but apparently these banners are going to be 2 weeks each as opposed to 3
Mm, really
on the next patch. Yeah.
interesting. I'm curious. Maybe there'll be a third banner afterwards. I don't know.
Either
Because
that
it's
or
2 weeks.
this patch is just going to be a shorter one.
Yeah, I
Be
guess so.
A 4 week patch instead of a 6 week patch.
Interesting. Very interesting. That's. I mean, it's bad for Xiao, the character on the first set of the banner. It's like you don't have as much time, right, to
Yeah.
to acquire this character. But yeah, we'll see. But the 1.3, there's going to be some extra story content. Looked like I don't remember what exactly it was, but the one thing that was nice though during these was they gave a lot of primo gems for free. I sent you those codes, right? They do a good job of like having codes available during some of their live streams to give away for free, which has been an extra bonus in some of these update videos.
Yeah,
And
and they've at least recently this last patch, the 1.2, there've been a lot more primo gem giveaway, like more events where they give away free
yeah,
primo gems.
like
So
yeah,
I think they've been listening at least a little bit to the feedback from the initial release where it's like, okay, the free to play primo gem rate is just awful, and especially once you get to a certain point, you clear all the content, there's just no way to earn primo gems other than you get 60 a day for doing dailies. So
yep.
they've been doing more events where you can, earn 40, 60, 100 a day or something like that. So I've appreciated that.
No, really, I agree. It's been great.
I, I think I'm gonna get another pull tomorrow. So
Oh boy,
we'll see.
one last chance.
We'll see if we get Ganyu.
One last chance.
I may be able to pull one more out next week, depending on when the banner disappears. Because when the month turns over, I can buy the 5 intertwined fates
Mm-hmm.
from the Stardust shop. So maybe
Yeah.
I can pull one more out early next week if on Monday or something,
Yeah.
whenever the month turns over. So yeah, we'll see if I
See if you
actually
get the RAM.
actually
The
get
RAM right
Ganyu, or if I literally did 150 pulls on the last 2 banners and got nothing.
No, 150. Oh no. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm passing you my Genshin luck. I'm passing it to you. You can have it for this next pull or two. You can have my Genshin luck for these for sure. Because I feel like on some of these banners I get super lucky. the Ganyu one, I got way too lucky. I think
I mean,
I got
you saved up. You saved
I
up
did
for
save, yeah.
Ganyu, which is the right strategy. I decided to greed for it and decided that I wanted both Albedo and Ganyu,
Sure.
and I didn't get Albedo, and now we're
Oh,
and
dude.
now we're
Oh no, not my.
grasping at straws for
I,
Ganyu at the end here.
I am not giving my Xenoblade luck. I'm giving specifically my
Your
Genshin luck.
Genshin,
My
your Genshin.
Xenoblade luck's over here. If my Xenoblade luck was like my hand, it would just be lit on fire, and I'd have to like, obviously like dump it in water or something. But my Genshin luck is on a whole different tier. I'm sending that one. My Genshin luck has been very strong so far. I've gotten the characters that I frankly really wanted. So, but the Xenoblade luck can go like burn in a dumpster. Like that definitely can just go. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have too much more to say. I think the marvelous like treasure event that got put on for this particular week, they just like didn't have the guy move. They just stuck him into this Mondstadt,
Yeah.
which I kind of appreciate actually because I don't want to look for this dude. So that's kind of funny that they're just like, okay, let's just not have this guy move and let's just give tons of easy rewards, right? That was funny. Yeah. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, they definitely simplified this event, which is a rerun event from one they did previously.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it wasn't complicated before. He just moved, and you had to
find him where he moved.
You didn't really find him. You just clicked the event, and it showed you where he was, and you just fast traveled to him basically, and that's it.
That. That's interesting. Oh yeah, it kind of showed the general, yeah. But I don't know. I don't mind this one at all. Like especially at the end of a banner, it's like whatever. I'm like tapped out of Genshin at the moment with all the stuff. So like having a chill.
I haven't done the Ganyu quest. I haven't even done the Ganyu quest.
Neither have I.
Side quest, yeah. I burned myself out too. I did all the Dragon Spine stuff, and then I completed the Battle Pass sometime last week, I think. And I haven't even been spending my resin. I've just been logging in, doing dailies, doing the event, and that was it. Like only things that get me primo gems I'm doing right now. I just don't.
Yeah. This is gonna sound like crazy talk. I didn't play it all yesterday. I was just like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good today.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm done for today. I'm gonna do other things. I was just not interested at all. I was like, I think I need a full day off to cool my jets on Genshin. That was what I was thinking. So, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully the next update is nice and fun, and we'll see. We'll see what happens, dude. Hopefully you can get the ice demon, the ram, the DPS monster that is Ganyu. But okay, we talked about this last week. By the way, we're going to talk about it. Sports.
Oh boy, sports ball.
Let's talk sports today. Let's do. I want to briefly talk about basketball. I think basketball is actually more relevant than football in the sense that currently they're going through a season with tons of COVID issues. So at some point I want to talk about that. But maybe we should start with football because football playoffs, Super Bowl is set. The Super Bowl is Spoon's favorite quarterback, Tom Brady. And on the other side, we have the Chiefs again with Kermit the Frog and those guys.
Kermit the Frog?
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes sounds like Kermit the Frog. He does. You can't tell me he does. If you put a Kermit the Frog costume on Patrick Mahomes, I'd say he was definitely Kermit. There's no way you can tell me he doesn't sound like Kermit.
And then the walrus duck, Andy Reid.
Oh my gosh, Andy Reid, that poor guy, dude.
He looks so ridiculous with the freaking mask. Oh my goodness.
Andy Reid,
he's a great coach, but he just looks
Andy Reid, I feel, that guy. I have nothing to say about Andy Reid. He really is an interesting one. He's just like, it sounds like he's run 10 miles every day he gets onto a press conference. And I'm like, Andy, come on, man. You didn't do much today. Why are you breathing so heavily into the microphone? You're fine. But yeah, good old Tom's back in it. So any Super Bowl thoughts? I also heard an interesting thing. A bunch of companies are not doing Super Bowl ads. I won't say a bunch, maybe a couple. Maybe I should say a couple.
I saw Bud Budweiser wasn't going to do them,
Budweiser,
which is they're a staple. They're a staple of Super Bowl
Pepsi, and
ads.
Coca-Cola, I think, were the others too. Is there a reason? Are they like boycotting or something? I'm
I don't know.
confused.
I didn't see the reason. I just saw that they weren't doing it.
Can someone check that for us? Because I keep seeing stuff about it, like, oh, Budweiser isn't going to do Super Bowl ads, which, yeah, like they're always Super Bowl ads for them. So it was very interesting to read that. I'm just curious as to why. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl, Spoon? In your, I know you like Tom, so
I'll take the Chiefs again.
you'll take the Chiefs again. Okay, you'll take the Chiefs. Yeah, I'm thinking. I hope the Chiefs again. The Chiefs are my secondary football team. The Vikings are my first because I always need to have a team that disappoints me on a consistent basis as my favorite team.
Of course. Minnesota sports is always there for you.
Yeah. Oh, the PR reason are sending money to vaccine awareness. Okay, that's fine. If that's 100% true, good.
I'm glad.
Good.
Good.
Or okay, but yeah, I hope the Chiefs win again. Tom Brady's.
It's a lesser of two evils for me because unless you're a fan of the team, you don't really want to see a team repeat usually because it's like, oh, okay, the same team just won again, great. But goddamn, I hate Tom Brady. I hate him so much.
The Super Bowl is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
The Kansas City Chiefs is just.
And it's actually, and this is the first time ever that it's happened. It's a home game for the Bucks.
Oh yeah, because it's in Tampa.
The Super Bowl is in Tampa, which has never happened.
That's crazy.
Which has never happened before. Every year when it's been a possibility, almost always the team has been like disappointed. The one year it was in Dallas, people were like, "Oh man, the Cowboys, they're going to be good this year. They're going to get a home Super Bowl," and they were just trash. They were trash that year.
Yep. But yeah, I think I'm hopeful for the Chiefs. I'm a little tired of Tom, so.
I just want him to retire. We get it. It's hard to dispute. Like, he is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, quarterback to ever play the game. It's impossible to dispute that. I would think. I mean, you could, but it would be tough.
It would be a bad take if you were to dispute he's not one of the best quarterbacks ever.
It would be a real bad take.
It would be a bad take.
But he's won what, 6 of them and been to, I don't know, 9 or 10.
He's been to a lot. I mean, he truly should be, like, if not the best, top 2, top 3 at least. I mean, like, again, if you were not to say he's top 3, you're just either be a bad taker, you're just a hater. You're just a hater in general.
And I am a hater. I hate Tom Brady.
He's a hater. So
but I can admit that he is, if he's not the greatest quarterback of all time, he's definitely in the top 3.
Of course. Yeah, you can't. I mean, you just really can't dispute it. So,
but I'm just tired. I just want him to retire. Like, I'm so sick of him. I'm just so sick of him.
Oh, interesting.
So sick of them talking about him every year and him being good every year. Like, I was really hoping he would go to Tampa. I didn't think they would be bad, but I was hoping they would not be that great. Like, maybe they'll make the playoffs, which, again, they kind of, I wouldn't say they squeaked in. They were, what, the 5th seed or something in the NFC? Seed. So yeah, they were the top wild card team. So, but they didn't win their division. They were a wild card team. And then in the who'd they beat? Oh yeah, they got to play Washington the first.
Oh yeah, they've got to play Washington football team because. So that's a win. I mean Washington tried. They tried. They really did try.
It was actually the Saints. The Saints won that division. The Saints were actually really good this year. And then the next week they played the Saints and Drew Brees ran it down. He threw like 4 picks.
Yep. Just run it down mid. Time to run it down mid. Let's do it.
And the first 2 times the Saints and the Bucks had played, the Saints like blew the Bucks out during the season, and then in the playoffs, of course, Drew Brees ran it down.
It's so funny because the Saints consistently for the last couple of years have been so favored in those in playoff games, and okay. I think it was 4 years ago. Maybe it was 4 years ago. We had the Saints lost on the Minnesota Miracle.
Yep.
I don't remember what happened the year after. I really don't remember what happened the year after, but they didn't. Minnesota beat them again, which the Saints were just favored. And then this year, they run it down again. Like the Saints consistently are supposed to win.
Let's also not
playoffs.
forget, was it 2 years ago? The Rams beat them on that non-pass interference.
That's right. That was what it
End of
was.
the game.
Yes, that's what it was. The Saints lost on that shit. So like the Saints have gotten Minnesota miracled, non-called, Minnesota again in over. I think that was an overtime one too. And then Tampa Bay, they ran down mid in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So, not in Tampa Bay, probably in.
It was in New Orleans.
It was in New Orleans. Yeah, not Tampa Bay. It was in New Orleans.
But yeah, I mean, Drew Brees is. I think he announced he was going to retire. So, yeah.
He retired. Philip Rivers is retired, right? He's retired.
Oh, my boy, Philip Rivers. As a Chargers fan, I love Philip Rivers. He was.
Philip Rivers. I mean,
he's great.
Philip Rivers is great. He really is a great quarterback.
He was the character.
He was a character. Yeah, no, he really. Oh my God, Philip Rivers. Philip, we can't say anything of all the things we really want to say about Philip, but Philip is a character. Lots of kids.
Yeah, he has lots of kids. I think he has like 9 kids or something.
So many kids.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, like I don't know, football. Like for me this year, I didn't watch as much football. I know the Vikings. The Vikings had a period where I thought they were going to maybe squeak in, and then they ran it down again. The Vikings are an interesting team. We'll see what happens with them. The Chargers are. I don't really want to say, but the Chiefs are going to own that division for a while. I have to be honest with you. Like, I can't.
They are.
And if the Chargers do. Really, if the Chargers do end up winning that division at some point, it'll maybe the Chargers quarterback. I feel like they said he was promising. Was he the one that
he had a really good? I mean, he's gonna win Rookie of the Year, almost no doubt. Yeah, I mean, he looked good in his rookie season. We'll see how he does next year.
Yeah, of course.
We have a new coach. We hired the Rams defensive coordinator. I'm not remembering his name right now.
Oh man. Well, hopefully he will understand what clock management is, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how to take a timeout? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you're hired.
Do you know to not wait 20 seconds before you call a timeout?
You should. Do you wait 20 seconds or call a timeout right away? I think I call it right away. Okay, you're hired. You're better than the other guy. Perfect.
You're hired.
You're in. We appreciate you. You're in. And
so yeah.
I mean. Like I haven't watched as much football, but I know that the one thing I know of the Vikings in particular is that wide receiver had a great season. He had an excellent season. Yeah. He beat out Randy Moss for I don't remember which rookie record, which is incredible because Randy Moss's rookie year was like almost legendary as a receiver. So that's a huge deal. That's all I remember from the Vikings in particular. So, okay. I want to talk quickly about how is that car alarm still going off? That's impossible. It's been an hour and a half. So with the NBA, I've been watching mostly on and off. The Timberwolves are freaking terrible, so I try to stay away from them. But basically obviously since COVID's a thing, basketball has tried to not bubble, which I think was a huge mistake. But I think I know why they didn't want to bubble. I feel like the players would have been really upset and the coaches would have been really upset. So they didn't bubble. So all these teams are traveling and they're playing back-to-backs, which is mind-boggling to me that they're allowing teams to do back-to-backs. But they do back-to-backs. And the Washington Wizards are the team I want to highlight today. The Washington Wizards couldn't play basketball for, I think, a week and a half, 2 weeks, because they had over 6 positive COVID over 6 positive COVID cases. Over 6. Essentially half the team had COVID.
Half the team had
COVID. The Timberwolves had, Karl Anthony Towns, by the way, I feel so bad for that guy. If you don't know about him, you can probably just Google search it. Karl Anthony Towns has lost 6 or 7 members of his family to COVID. It's really sad. And he got a positive COVID, which is just terrible. Like, I feel so bad for him. Like, his mom passed away from COVID. He had like an uncle pass away from COVID. It's just, holy moly, that guy. And the NBA has been limping along with the season. It started late. The COVID tests actually started to get out of control very quickly. They somehow have kept it together, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see how they end the season, but it's weird with football. I think it's better just because it's only one game a week, and
Yeah,
you
they
can do a
play
better protocol with that.
they play once a week. If a team tests positive, in between the weeks, they're like, all right, lock them down, and
Exactly.
then they either don't play. They rescheduled some games during the season, or there was one. I forget. There was one time, was it the Ravens or the Browns or something? They just like their whole first team like didn't get to play or something. They had to
Something
play with
weird,
their backup squad or
which was
something. It was
stupid.
okay.
Yeah, that was so stupid.
Okay, whatever.
And
Um,
Denver's quarterback stuff.
yeah,
But with basketball, you can't
yeah.
really
They
do that.
they
So
play every other day,
yeah, basically.
or every in some
So
cases back to backs, as you said. So
so this is like it's. I will say I think basketball has survived this, but man, like
it's not going well.
we'll see. We'll see. It's like again, the Wizards basically took a week and a half off. There have been other teams that have lost like entire lineups to this, like starting lineups to this. The Timberwolves lost like 4 players because Karl Anthony Towns got COVID because of contact tracing rules. They, if you, I guess if you were, within contact of the player that had COVID in some way, then you had to go into protocol. Somehow basketball has limped through this, but it's like sports. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with like assuming COVID still remains a factor. I'm not sure what's going to happen with something like baseball. I know baseball is in this, obviously late spring and summer. Hopefully things will be more in control then. But baseball plays a lot of games in very close proximity to each other.
yeah,
So
the
I'm interested in
difference
that.
is, yeah, the difference with baseball is if they did a full schedule, you play, and most of the time you'll play like 3 or 4 games against a team and then move on and play a
Mm-hmm.
different team.
True.
Um, so they can, if someone tests positive while you're playing whatever team you're playing, they can probably shut it down before they move on and
Mm,
play the next team.
sure.
Whereas
That's true.
basketball, again, they play every day, like not every day, but for the most part every other day, and they're playing a different team every other day most of the time.
Most of the time, yes, that's correct.
Most of
They
the time.
they've been trying to do same team back to back or
Sure.
whatever, but still, like let's say you had to play the Wizards back, like your whole team still is going to have to go into protocol because you played the Wizards at a
But
time
yeah,
where they got a bunch of positive cases. So
yeah. No, it's going to be a mess for baseball if they decide to play a full season, which is 162 games. Yeah, baseball is also an outdoor sport, which helps. It's during the summer, which also helps. But there were still cases over last summer when they played the 60-game season where, a team got COVID and they had to, again, they didn't play for like a week or a week and a half, and they had to suspend all their games, and they had to play a ton of like double headers at the end of the season or something like that.
yep,
So
to make up for it.
with a 162-game season, if there's a lot of COVID delays and such with baseball, man, that schedule is going to turn into an
It's brutal.
absolute
Yeah,
freaking night. It's just going to be a nightmare.
it'll be brutal.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's like
but
that's yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm hoping baseball has a full season. I didn't get. I mean, the Dodgers won the World Series, so I was happy. But I did not get my fill of baseball this past year with the shortened season.
Mm.
Um,
But with basketball, but like so far the season basketball, for those of you non-basketball fans, which I obviously like, I follow it pretty well. I mean, super teams still exist, so if you're not a super team, you're shit out of luck. The Warriors shouldn't win this year, so don't feel like they're going to win. The Lakers probably have the best chance to win this year. The Nets have a super team going now with amazing players at this point. Um, I'm trying to think of any other things that really stick out to me that maybe like would be intriguing besides that. Um, yeah, I mean like, this is the problem. The NBA has a fundamental problem with like they're just like super teams exist, and there's going to be a subset of teams that will will generally constantly be successful because of certain dynamics that work in their favor. The San Antonio Spurs, for the longest time, had just unbelievable success because they happened to put together several Hall of Fame players, and frankly, you may or may not ever see that replicated again. And those Hall of Fame players happen to all be drafted, so that's going to be rare. But I mean, super teams exist. Like, there's just some teams that just are not going to win, and they're not going to win. So you're just sort of curious to see what's going to happen during the season. The parity involving the bottom and top of the NBA is really drastic. Which you might be able to make that argument in any sport, but in basketball,
It's more drastic in
it's
basketball.
really drastic. Like, really, with NFL, like the worst team in the league. Yes, they're the worst team in the league. Are they going to beat the best team in the league? Like, obviously, like you could make the argument. Of course not. But like even some of those bottom NFL teams are still competitive enough to be able to at least compete with some of those top tier teams. They could really be competitive, really. But with basketball, like those somewhat bottom tier teams, they're not competing with like a Lakers team over a series. They're
What is the worst team in the league? Like, how many games do they usually win? Like 25?
Yeah, like 20 or something. 20 something.
20 to 25, something like that.
Yeah.
Out of what, 80? Is it 82?
This year it's going to be 72 games, but typically it's 82.
Typically 82.
So you could see a team go like 18 and 54, I guess would be the math there. So 18 and 54 is reasonable for a really bad team. But like, even like with the NBA playoffs, the way it's set up, like an 8 seed in the NBA playoffs is garbage compared to the 1 seeds. Like, and don't argue this with me. Like, oh, but once 8 seeds do win, okay, sure they do. Sometimes,
once in a blue moon.
Sometimes, but like the difference between, like in the Eastern Conference in particular, the difference between an 8 seed and a 1 seed is laughable. It's laughable. In the West, it's a little bit different in some cases, but like an 8 seed really could compete with a 1 seed, but no. Like in the Eastern Conference in particular, like you've got Garbo teams trying to compete with a 1 seed, and it's just hysterical. It's like, okay.
I always have thought that too many teams make the playoffs in the NBA.
It should be 6. I think 6 could easily be fine. The 6 seed I can realistically say could be competitive with like a higher seeded team. But the 7 and 8 seeds, I get in the West it's different, but in the East, it's not happening. Like, it just doesn't happen that often. The 8 seed doesn't win. The 7 seed sometimes makes things interesting, I will say. But if it was a 6-team playoff in the NBA where you had like maybe the 1 and 2 seeds getting a bye, and then you have 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, that would actually be very competitive. But you know why the 8 and 7 seeds get to come in?
Money.
Cash. Because cash.
Playoff tickets are expensive. Playoffs generate huge ratings on TV and ad money.
Because when that 8 seed actually wins a game, it makes things far more valuable. So this is why you bring the 7 and 8 seed, is because when the times when the 7 and 8 seed
you play a 7-game series where the 8 seed gets blown out 4 times by the 1 seed most of the time.
Most of the time,
maybe they win one. Maybe they win one. Maybe they win one game.
Yeah.
And maybe one other one is close. But I don't really watch basketball, but I feel like most of the time the 8 seed just gets blown out 4 times and we move on to the next round by the 1 seed.
It's often that the 8 seed just gets absolutely annihilated. The 7 seed again will make things interesting, but yeah, the NBA should probably move, but they won't because cash. So anyway, but that's all I want to say about the NBA. I don't want to say anything more. Like, I mean, I know the teams that are going to be competitive. I know who's going to be competitive to win the championship. It's like 4 teams at this point. There's like 4. I want to say the Lakers, the Nets should be a competitive team. I have to pull up the standings to see. I feel like some of these teams like may not even be like the top teams. So the Nets, I feel, will be a highly competitive team just because they have a super team now. The Lakers, of course, are going to be favored to win. I think the Clippers are going to be favored in the West as well. And in the Eastern Conference is so weird. Like, the Cleveland Cavaliers are the 7 seed currently, and it's like a shit show over there. Like in the East, I guess the Nets and like maybe the Bucks. The 76ers have a good record, but I have no faith in their team. So yeah, the NBA, I know who's going to be the really competitive championship quality teams. I don't even need to watch the rest of the season to know that. Like I really don't. But sometimes there's interesting stuff. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely agree with what Tri said earlier. By the way, that once the vaccine is more publicly available, I do think that these sports leagues should literally mandate that the players take the vaccine.
They will. They will. I think most leagues will be fine.
They won't be allowed to play unless they take the vaccine.
I think most leagues will be fine. The NBA will have
NBA might have
issues.
A few. There might be a few players who
NBA has some weird folks. Like not that other leagues don't. I mean, there's going to be weird folks in other leagues too. NBA's got some Papega brains in it.
They're a little more vocal about it.
Yeah, they do. They go on their Instagram lives and talk about anti-vaxxing, and I'm like, oh, can you not? Can you not? It's pretty bad in the NBA. Not that any other league I'm sure has like one or some of those folks, but the NBA seems to have the loudest ones for whatever reason.
Definitely.
So, any other stuff with? I'm trying to think of other sports stuff.
I did think of something on the topic of 2FM Rando. Not something that I'm personally participating in, but one of the big streamers in the Kingdom Hearts community, Nintendo, is putting on a level 1 rando tournament in a couple of weeks. I won't be participating in it, but it's generated a lot of hype, and most of the people who've been participating in the tournaments up to this point are moving over and practicing level 1 at this point because Nintendo's offering a cash prize for this tournament.
Ooh, this should be interesting. What's the cash prize?
The total pool was like over $1,000.
Oh,
if you make top 16, you get like $20 or something like that, and then
that's
it goes
dangerous.
Up from there,
we know why it's dangerous, but that's always dangerous in a game like Randos where.
But there's gonna be some salt.
I'm so worried about it for KH Randos from everything I've seen and heard from you guys. So I'm obviously it's cool that like people are gonna put a cash prize. But man, that's so dangerous. But yeah, that's still generally speaking very cool.
Yeah. So, people have seemed to be moving on to level 1, and
obviously,
I don't want to play level
cash.
1. That looks stupid to me, and I don't quite honestly, I don't need the money. So
yeah.
I won't be doing that. Yeah. But yeah, people are playing level 1 randos now, which again just doesn't look fun to me. If you thought Zigbar was a struggle before when we're level 30, oh boy, let's play him on level 1 where second chance and once more don't exist, and there's only 1 berserk charge in the pool instead of 2. And yeah, no, it's just
sounds fun. Sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm sure I could do it if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I just don't want to. It doesn't sound fun. So
right. Anyway, all right. We're hitting close to time, by the way.
Yeah.
So
we should wrap.
Any other? Okay. If there's any other stuff before we wrap, though, if there's any other quick thoughts.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. So we gotta end soon, everybody, because I have school, and school takes priority over video games, and unfortunately, that is the case. But let's wrap very quickly on some things. So Twitter. Guys, I don't think we really talk about Twitter enough, but Twitter, we post stuff on Twitter. Please follow it and like and retweet our stuff on there. We really appreciate that. If you're not following the Twitch channel, or if you happen to know somebody that might be interested in our Twitch channel for these podcasts or any of our game streams, please, refer them to us and have them follow the channel. We'd appreciate that. YouTube videos, I already talked about at the beginning. Like those, subscribe to the channel, check out all those videos. Merch store. The merch store is live. This coffee cup, by the way, is very nice. It is a nice little cup. It's a little bit smaller than some of the cups that I have for my stuff, but gets the job done. Good price. Also, I've got a T-shirt coming. We got hoodies on there and all that. Please, if you're interested in getting any of this stuff, feel free. We don't really make that much profit off of it, so it's really just if you guys are interested in getting some gear and showing it off. And finally, last thing is we have a Discord. If you're interested in movie nights, feel free to join there as well, and you can hear some of our conversations regarding game news as well. So be sure to join that Discord channel if you're interested. And I think that's going to do it for the wrap. There's some other stuff that probably will get mentioned in other streams in the future that is happening in the background. But tomorrow is the Rainbow Six stream, so be sure to check that out tomorrow. I'll get an exact time, but I think it'll be at like 5 p.m. Pacific time. So be sure to check that out. Any last things before I click the end stream button, Spoon?
Yeah, just for movie night, people again, feel free to post movie/show
Yes.
suggestions for us to watch in the movie night chat. We're happy to take any suggestions, and we will decide what we want to watch next. Because yeah, last night was fun. Seemed like
It
people
was. It was
seems
great.
like people liked the movie. Yeah, I had seen that once before, and I don't I liked it even more this time. That movie is, man,
It's a good movie. It's
it's
heavy, but it's a good
it's
movie.
heavy and heart-wrenching, but like very heartwarming at the end, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, once everything kind of gets resolved. But it's
Exactly.
um yeah.
No, it's good. Yeah, please be sure to post your TV or movie suggestions in that movie night channel. We'd appreciate it. We'll obviously keep an open eye on those. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching the episode. Don't forget streams tomorrow and Friday from Rainbow Six Crew and Spoon. And hopefully I'll be able to hop on Xenoblade this weekend just because I got cut off yesterday a little bit too early. So thanks everybody. Have a great night.